Hello everyone, ጤና ይስጥልኝ. My name is Emmeline and you're watching ETA to Z on Arts TV. Do you know why Ethiopia is known as the land of origins? About half a century ago, a fossil over 3 million years old was discovered in the country by a team of researchers. These famous fossilized bones are now in Addis Ababa, and more precisely in this compound. Today, we will visit the National Museum of Ethiopia to learn more about our common ancestor, Lucy. Ato Negusu, how are you?
I'm fine.
This museum has 4 sections, right? But today we're gonna visit one of them. What is this section about?
Yeah, this section is devoted for the paleontological findings. Most of them are discovered from the Lower Awash, Middle Awash and Omo Valley parts of Ethiopia. This section is mainly deals about the human evolution timeline. Among us, we'll see the most important or internationally remarkable Lucy.
Where exactly was Lucy discovered?
Lucy is discovered from a place called Hadar. Is located in the Lower Awash part of Ethiopia, in the Afar regional states of Ethiopia. It is located here, the exact location. 3.2 million is old hominid skeleton was discovered here in 1974 by the American paleontologist Professor Donald Johanson. I will tell you many things about Lucy, how she was discovered in 1974, how the name Lucy was given, how other fossils also discovered after Lucy.
Shall we go now?
This section is devoted for different paleontological findings. Among us, we see world or internationally known Lucy, Ardi, Salame and others. Fossils are discovered from different parts of Ethiopia.
Lucy is the most famous one. What can you tell me about her?
She is the first hominid when she was discovered in 1974 in Ethiopia. And she was also almost 40% partially completed. And she is also dated 3.2 million years old fossil. There is no fossil that is before that. And the other thing is she was also give a clue for the scientists or paleontologists as she was walking uprightly or bipedal. And the other thing is even the name itself. Those who had discovered Lucy in 1974, after they found this almost partially completed fossil, they were very excited and prepared a kind of party in the evening. They were singing a popular song which is composed by the Beatles, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. But in our national language, we call her Dinkenesh, which means marvelous, amazing one, or Konjo. There are many discoveries from different parts of Africa. Even though Ethiopia is taking the lion's share, about 9 to 11 best discoveries are discovered from Ethiopia. In general, Africa as a continent is the cradle land of humanity. But in particular, Ethiopia is also taking the lion's share, or most of the well-known discoveries are found from different parts of Ethiopia.
That is why Ethiopia is known as the land of origins.
Yeah, of course.
Here we are in front of our common ancestor, Lucy. What's her scientific name?
Yeah, Lucy belongs from Australopithecus afarensis. The word itself came from Latin, Australo which means south, Pithecus means ape-like species. Afarensis indicated clearly where she was discovered, the region, Afar regional states of Ethiopia. Here we have the fossil that is about 40% partially completed. About 52 fragments were discovered from Hadar. So this shows different parts of the skeleton, especially if you see this part is the jaw. That clearly indicated she was an adult, fully growing adult between 18 to 21 years old, because she was after as the wisdom teeth or the third molar. This clearly indicated how old she was when she was dying. And the other one is she was identified as a female by seeing the pelvis or the hip structure. And she was also very tiny and very small. She stood 1 meter and 0.5 centimeter tall only. And we have here the ideal size of Lucy. The reconstruction material is showing us, in order to compare and contrast, 40% was found, 60% is just reconstructed or the missing part. The blue one is the cartilage that is not bone. So we can compare the white against of the brown one or the golden color.
What we can see here is a replica of Lucy. Where is she right now?
Yeah, the original fossil of Lucy is found in the laboratory station, the next white building, because there is standardized laboratory station, or it gives access for those scientists or paleontologists who came from different parts of the world. So we need to care her, and we put in the safe case, and it's also checked by the curators every day, because if we put here, it's very difficult, because museums are exposed for different. It may be for vandalism case, it may be also exposed for destruction or contamination, and we cannot also provide checking regularly the humidity, relative humidity dating check. So we need to care her because she represented all human beings. So we need to care her. When we lost her, we can't replace her.
አቶ ንጉሱ በጣም አመሰግናለሁ።
እኔም አመሰግናለሁ።
Now I have a surprise for you. Let's travel back in time to that day in November 1974, where a team of scientists made a discovery that will change our understanding of human evolution. I'm very honored today to be with Donald Johansen, who made this groundbreaking discovery almost half a century ago. Thank you for joining us today.
It's my pleasure. I'd love to talk about Lucy.
Can you tell me what happened the day you discovered Lucy?
Well, my life changed completely. This was a very interesting expedition. It was a French-American or American-French expedition with scientists and scholars from France as well as from the United States. And all of this began because my unfortunately deceased colleague, Maurice Tayeb, had been exploring the Afar region. And all of us who were interested in paleoanthropology were looking in other places. And when I met him in Paris many years ago, he told me that there was a place that he had seen that was full of fossil bones. And he invited me to go with him. And this was the Afar region. And the best area was just north of the Awash River. Near a small village called Eliwa. It's sort of between Bati and Mile. And on November 24th in 1974, many, many years ago, it was coming up almost to 50 years now, I was out surveying and I was looking on the landscape and I was with one of my students. And I looked down over my shoulder and I found a little piece of bone, which was the bone that comes from this part of the arm, the elbow. And I knew it could not be a monkey, that it could not be any kind of animal except from a human ancestor. And when I kneeled down, I could see pieces of the skull, I could see pieces of the jaw, I could see pieces of the leg bones, and so on. And I knew at that moment that I had discovered part of a skeleton. And we have about 40% of the skeleton. And that evening we celebrated in our camp. And we were listening to the Beatles album. And Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds was playing. And someone on the expedition said, if you think this is really a female, which I did, and she is, or was, why don't we call her Lucy? And that's how she got her name.
Okay, and you said that this discovery has completely changed your life. Why?
Well, I was a young anthropologist, paleoanthropologist, just beginning my career. I just received my doctorate from the University of Chicago, and here I was in the middle of nowhere. I had worked previously in Ethiopia, in southern Ethiopia, north of Lake Turkana in the Omo region. And I was led to this barren landscape by Maurice Tayeb, and I was hoping to find something. And this was an incredible discovery because it was older than 3 million, which made it very important because at that time, we really only had a few fossils that you could keep in the hand, in the palm of your hand, that were older than 3 million. So we opened up a brand new window, looking deeper into the past to see what some of our most ancient ancestors looked like.
What does Lucy tell us about human evolution?
Well, Lucy tells us so many things. We know that from her leg bones and her pelvis that she walked upright, like we do. We walk on two legs. And maybe most people don't think that's very strange because we do it every day. But when you look wider, if you look at all the mammals on the planet, we're the only ones who spend all of our time walking upright. So there's something very unique about that. And we also discovered that she had a small brain, a more ape-like brain. So that means that we stood up and walked like we do today before our brains increased in size. We now have probably more than 400 specimens from the site of Hadar, where she was found. And it tells us that there was in that species, we of course belong in Homo sapiens, but these other species, like this is a tongue twister, as we say, Australopithecus afarensis, named after the Afar region and the Afar people. This species that lived between 3 and 4 million years ago, the males were much larger than the females, and females were much smaller. And it tells us that they were, and also our research tells us that they were living in groups, probably maybe 20 or 30 or individuals or so, and that it was a very successful species that existed for a very long period of time.
Ethiopians in general, not only the people from the Afar region, are so proud of their Lucy, of their Dinkinesh.
Absolutely. And of course, she lives now, she doesn't live, but her bones are kept in the National Museum of Ethiopia, where all of these fossils reside that have been found in the Afar region. And we talk about, for example, in 1973, which was our first major expedition, I found this fossil knee, which is, you can see it moves like our knee, and it has all of the characteristics of a human that walked upright. And this was the spark. This was the spark that told us that if we looked more and more, we would find more specimens of human ancestors. And as you well know, I think one of the most incredible things that Ethiopia has delivered to us is one of the most complete records of human evolution. Going back all the way to 6 million years ago, there are fragments of humans who were walking upright. And we see the diversity in the past. Today, we all think we're special, of course. We always think about ourselves. I sometimes call us Homo egocentricus because we only think about ourselves. But in the past, there were many different species on this tree of evolution. And there is documentation of all of those different species including the Omo and the Afar region, and including the emergence of Homo sapiens at about 233,000 years ago. So Ethiopia has played perhaps one of the most significant roles in our understanding of human evolution.
Thank you so much, Professor, for taking the time to respond to my questions.
Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup et à bientôt.
À bientôt. Merci beaucoup.
Au revoir.
I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of ET A to Z. See you all next time.